Happy Wednesday. How you doing? Hey, I want to talk to you today about the number one reason why prayers don't get answered. It comes from my book, How to Pray. The number one reason why prayers don't get answered. How many of you know that if a prayer does not get answered, there's a reason? Always a reason. But the number one reason, I'm going to tell you all about it today. Say this with me. The rest of my life is the best of my life. The best of my life is the rest of my life. Everything I touch turns to gold. I am smart, getting smarter every day. I am extremely talented. Great things are coming my way. Everything always works out for me. I am a wonderful person. Pastor Jim is a wonderful pastor. Pastor Jim is the ultimate pastor. Why? Because I get results. Results. Wonderful results. People call and get their prayers answered. If you need your prayers answered today, call me. I'll get them answered for you. I'm going to go through some of this and tell you why and how I get prayers answered. You should be able to get your prayers answered every time you pray. Get results every time. Did Jesus get answers to his prayers? Every time. Why is that? Because he knew how to pray. He knew how to pray. There is a right way to pray and a wrong way to pray. Call me today if you need anything. If you're one of our prayer partners, you always have access to me. And the only thing I require is that you watch the videos. Watch the videos. Because that makes it easy for me to get your prayers answered. Because watching the videos increases your faith and strengthens your spirit. Huh? Hallelujah. Make sure you call me today when you do your offerings and your donations, and especially your tithe, because I want to speak the word for word blessing over you that God gave the priests to speak over the people. Numbers chapter 6. He gave us the words. He said, if you will bless the people with these words, I will bless them. I said, okay, and he does. Huh? James chapter 1 talks about prayer. Jesus talked a lot of prayer. How many of you know, and we're going to get into this over the next few days, but Jesus told us how to get prayers answered. He told us. Yet people pray and don't get prayers answered. The reason I wrote this book was because Mary and I were in a Christian bookstore at a large church. We had to stop and pick up some offering envelopes. And we were in their bookstore, and Mary was looking around. And I happened to see a book on prayer. And it was by this man who has a large, huge prayer organization. And he said in the introduction, he said that there is no set formula or guarantee that God will ever answer a prayer. And I showed it to Mary, and she said, well, then why bother praying? And I said, on the way home, I said to Mary, I said, you know what? That man, wonderful Christian man, who is the head of a large prayer organization, has no idea how to get prayers answered. He just prays. People are prayer warriors. Oh my goodness. Every church, almost every church of any size has a prayer warrior. There is somebody in that church who will pray and pray and pray and pray. They introduced me to a lady one time, and the pastor says, she's a prayer warrior. He says, and I said, oh? I said, what's the last prayer she got answered? Well, he says, I don't know. He says, but if you need somebody to pray for you, she'll pray for you. Well, I don't need somebody to pray for me. But sometimes I need somebody who can get a prayer answered for me. Somebody who can get a prayer answered for me. There's a big difference. Do you want somebody to pray for you? Or do you want somebody to get a prayer answered for you? That's the difference between this ministry and every other ministry, is this ministry will get your prayers answered for you. You call me, I will get your prayers answered for you. I know how to do it. And you know why I know how to do it? Because I read the Bible. It tells us. It's in there. This isn't anything I came up with on my own. I didn't come up with a magical formula or some anything. No, I just do what they said to do. The people who wrote the Bible. And I get it, and I get the prayers answered. Glory to God. James, chapter 1. We're talking about anytime a prayer does not get answered, there's always a reason. The number one reason is found in James chapter 1. It says in verse 3, it says, if any of you lack wisdom, or they could also could say, but they don't, they could say anything else. If you lack anything, or wisdom especially, if you lack wisdom, let them ask of God, who gives to people liberally, all people, and upbraideth not. In other words, God's not going to make fun of you when you ask something in prayer. And then it says, and it shall be given to them. If anybody lacks wisdom, for that matter, if anybody lacks anything, what are you lacking? Whatever it is you're lacking, God will give it to you, including wisdom. But let them ask in faith. Well, now, how you ask in faith is when you ask, you have to believe that you're going to receive. You have to believe that your prayer is going to be granted. Because when you do, you're going to receive. It says, let them ask in faith without wavering. Now that word wavering in James chapter 1 means to doubt. It's the same word, doubt. Doubt. Duo. Doubt. If you doubt. Now, doubt means, what doubt means is you might get it, you might not. You might get healed, you might not. You might get enough money to pay your rent, you might not. It means duo. It means two. It means two things might happen. One of two things might happen. That's doubt. That's doubt. You might get it. You might not. God might hear my prayer. He might not. God might answer my prayer. He might not. This doubt is the faith destroyer. It's the doubt. It's the faith destroyer. It will block your prayer from being answered. It's the prayer blocker. Doubt. Let him ask in faith, nothing wavering. For he that wavers, or he who doubts, is like a wave of the sea, driven with the wind and move up and down, up and down, up and down. People are up and down, up and down. People call me sometimes, and sometimes they're just so ecstatic about what's going on. The next thing, go, oh, Pastor Jim, I just don't know what to do. You know, they waver. They're like a wave, up and down, with the waves, tossed to and fro. Nothing wavering, no doubt. And it says here, for he's like a wave of the sea, driven with the wind, and let not that person think he's going to receive anything from God. If you doubt, you're not going to receive from God. That is the number one reason why people don't get their prayers answered. Because they doubt that God's going to give it to them. They doubt. They're not firm in their faith. They don't pray and believe they're going to receive something. Now, how do I get people's prayers answered for them? When they call me and I pray for them, I absolutely know, beyond any shadow of a doubt, that what I'm praying for with you is going to happen. I know it. I've got a track record. Folks, this goes back over 30 years. I've been doing this over 30 years with just incredible results. A man just last week, called me. His business in a tank. Terrible, terrible problems. I prayed over his business. The very next day, he got a huge contract. Turned his whole life and his whole business around. Now you tell me why that happened. Because I knew when he called me and I prayed and spoke over his business that it was going to do exactly that. I knew it. I did not doubt one bit. Now, if you can pray without doubting, you'll get your prayer answered. If you're not to that point, find somebody to pray for you, and you'll get answered. They'll get an answer for you. There's people who can do this, folks. Kenneth Copeland, bless his heart, knows how to get prayers answered. Creflo Dollar, he knows how to get prayers answered. Benny Hinn, he can get prayers answered. T.D. Jakes, yep. Oh yeah, they can get prayers answered. These people know how to get prayers answered. Why do you think they are where they are and they have what they have? It's not just a coincidence. No, they know how to make things happen. Oral Roberts, Kenneth Copeland said years ago when he first started working with Oral Roberts, they used to just marvel at the way that guy could make things happen. Because he would pray about something and it would just turn up. All the time. Why is that? Because he knew how to get his prayers answered. And he would pray all day long for other people and they'd get their prayers answered. But all these people who know how to pray and get prayers answered are not available. You can't call them on the phone. But you can call me. And that's what makes our ministry so unique. You call, I answer the phone, and I will get your prayers answered for you. Tell everybody you know about this. There is no reason for anybody to be sick or broke as long as I'm here and I am answering the phone. When I stop answering the phone, everything in this country will change. And that's a fact. But nobody needs to die of sickness or disease when I'm here. Because I'm available and I get incredible results. Why? Because I don't have any doubt. I absolutely do not have any doubt. I absolutely know when you call me, what you need is going to happen for you. And it does. There's a whole huge group of people out there in this country. You may know some of them, some of you may not. But they know that when they call me, they're going to get results. The number one reason why people don't get prayers answered is doubt. You call me. There's no doubt in me. I will get your prayers answered